what if instead of one spiral, you add another spiral to create a double spiral effect? Stay tuned to find out how. Hey everyone, it's Nicole here from Bochiknot Macrame, and I'm super excited to be sharing with you this tutorial on a double spiral plant hanger pattern. Overall, this is a beginner-friendly pattern. You will need to make several double half hitch knots, so if you don't know some of the basic knots of macrame, I would definitely recommend brushing up on them. The double half hitch knot, the square knot, and the gathering knot are knots that you should know. A helpful tool to have with you on your macrame journey is our free downloadable 50 knots and sentence guide. It is a PDF ebook available for download over on bochiknot.com. This fun design is a play off of the spiral plant hanger pattern, but instead of a single spiral, I added a second spiral to give it a double spiral effect. To contrast the two spirals even more, one of the spirals I incorporated beads and the other one I left as is with just knots only. And also to be able to clearly see both layers, I did make the top layer a little bit shorter so that the bottom layer does stick out a little bit and it does spiral nicely together. This is such a fun one to make, and it's also not a super big time commitment, so I really hope you will enjoy having fun making this one. If you do enjoy this tutorial, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and click that subscribe button to stay tuned to our latest DIY tutorials and tips and tricks videos. And with that said, let's dive right in.
Here are the materials and supplies you will need for this pattern: 3mm cord, 2-inch ring, and some large hole beads. The cord I will be using for this pattern is a 3mm single strand cord from our foundation cord line. This is a 100% natural organic cotton cord, so it is super soft, but even though it is soft, it is sturdy enough to work with and doesn't unravel very easily. I'll be using these gold large hole beads for this plant hanger pattern. These beads do have large holes at 5mm. If you're looking for beads for this pattern, anything greater than 3mm hole will work fine. And then lastly, for the plant hanger portion, you will need a small ring. I'm using a 2-inch wooded ring. If you're interested in any of these supplies, I've tagged them underneath the video below. To start the pattern, we are going to take 2 strands of 400cm long cords, and we're going to attach them onto the bottom of the ring with lark's head knots. We're going to fold each cord in half first and then make the lark's head knot onto the ring. Repeat for one more lark's head knot right beside this. Mount down the ring or hang up your ring so that it is sturdy to work with. And then we're going to take the outer left and right cords as working cords for a square knot. And now we're going to separate out the far right cord and start our first spiral pattern. With the far right cord as an anchor cord, take another 400cm long cord and attach it onto the far right cord with a reverse lark's head plus half hitch knot. So starting with the reverse lark's head, take the 2 cords underneath and make a half hitch knot on both sides to complete this knot. Now repeat this 4 more times over to the right for 4 more reverse lark's head plus half hitch knots. Taking the next cord down, so the middle right cord from the square knot above, we're going to use that as an anchor cord for a row of double half hitch knots to the right. We're going to start this row of double half hitch knots really close to the row, and then gradually we're going to increase the amount of space in between the rows, and then for the last 2 double half hitch knots, we're just going to keep it the same space. By starting close, then increasing it gradually, and then stopping the increasing with the last few rows, we're going to have a fanned out effect, but also one that curves slightly downwards. So with these last few double half hitch knots here, we're going to keep a consistent amount of space in between the rows. Then also bring that top anchor cord down for 1 double half hitch knot as well. We're going to take the far left cord, so ignoring the 2 cords now from the square knot above, take that far left cord and make another row of double half hitch knots to the right. Now that you've made 2 rows of double half hitch knots, we're going to repeat the same pattern all the way down for 25 more rows. We've already made 2, so 25 more rows underneath. Once the 27 total rows of double half hitch knots have been made, this is what the pattern should look like. When you hold on to the ring, you should see that the pattern naturally spirals. And now what we're going to do is add on the second larger spiral underneath. We're going to be working with the 2 cords on the left side of the square knot that we had started with. Using the inner cord, so the right cord here as an anchor cord, attach 7 400 centimeter long cords onto this right cord with reverse lark's head plus half hitch knots. And then taking that far left cord above, use that as our starting anchor cord for a row of double half hitch knots to the right, gradually increasing the amount of space in between the rows, and then we're going to close off the last few rows with consistent spacing. Don't finish off the last double half hitch knot on the right side just yet, because we will be threading a bead through on the right side. Now bringing that top anchor cord down, we are going to take one bead and we're going to thread it through that cord. Once threaded through, take that cord to the back of the anchor cord we have been working with for one last double half hitch knot on the second row. Now taking the far left cord as an anchor cord, repeat for the exact same row to the right side, threading a bead through the far right cord. Now that we've made 2 rows of these, add 25 more rows underneath. Once done, this is what the pattern should look like. You should have the initial beadless pattern at the top of the spiral and the slightly larger spiral at the bottom. Match them up together like so, and you will see that this is how it should spiral once it's hung up. Once the patterns are matched up together, we're just going to organize the cords at the very bottom to make the plant pot holder section. Now to make a plant pot holder that fits the size of the plant pot you want to use, have it next to you so that you can measure it as you go. To begin, we are going to take the back 4 cords, so the 2 cords on each side at the back here, and we're going to make a square knot. Then at the front of the pattern, we are also going to make a square knot. Skipping several inches downwards, take 2 cords from each side and make a square knot. Now place your plant pot within this part of the pattern and see if it will fit. If it doesn't fit, like what you see here, you can move the square knot and adjust it downwards. Now directly at the back again with the 4 cords there, several inches below the square knot we made above, and then just slightly above the square knot at the front, which is on the right side, we're going to make another square knot here. Separating out the front layer of cords and the back layer of cords because the cord numbers here are slightly different because one section is shorter than the other. We will be making adjacent square knots with groups of 4 cords. So as you can see, I'm taking the next 4 cords over to the right for a square knot. Then with the next 4 cords, make another square knot. Now all you're going to do is turn the pattern around and do the same thing on the other side with groups of 4 cords. You will have 1 extra square knot to make on the other side. Once done, this is what the pattern should look like. And now we can connect all these patterns together with a row of alternating square knots. To do that, we are going to take 2 adjacent square knots and we're going to make an alternating square knot a few inches underneath. And then we're going to make these alternating square knots all around, connecting each of the square knot patterns together with an alternating square knot a few inches underneath. Once all of the alternating square knots are complete, you should have a web-like pattern. And then to finish off the holder part of this pattern, take a 50 centimeter long cord and make a gathering knot. Trim off the excess cords here and at the bottom to your desired length, and the pattern is now complete. My glass pot did end up breaking throughout this process, so do be careful with it. So I'm using a different plant pot to show you what it should look like at the bottom here.
And that's a wrap with our double spiral plant hanger pattern. I want to know what you guys enjoyed the most about this pattern. Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. All month long over on the Bochiknot Macrame community on Patreon, we are going over macrame hanging projects as our theme. So if you want to learn more intricate and advanced knotting patterns to create plant hangers and chandeliers, then that is the go-to place to advance your macrame skill set. So for more details, you can head on over to patreon.com/Bochiknot. Don't forget to post your Bochiknot inspired pieces with me on Instagram by tagging Bochiknot. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.